There's one thing which you said when you were talking about eating pigs, right? There was the hygiene point which you mentioned, which was there. But there was another thing which you had said, which you said that eating a pig would make someone behave like a pig. What logic was there out there? What analogy? Because in that sense, I mean, we do eat animals, right? Even Hindus who are non-vegetarians, they eat.
That's right. See, this was in question to why does Islam prohibit the eating of pork? Right. And I want to also the Islam prohibit eating of pork in no less than 4 different places. Right. Surah Baqarah chapter 2 was 173, Surah Ma'idah chapter 5 was number 3, Surah Anam chapter 6 was 145, Surah Nahl chapter 16 was 115. Furthermore, it's prohibited even in the Bible, in the book of Leviticus, chapter number 11, verse 7 and 8, book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14, verse number 8, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 65, verse number 2 to 5. It's even prohibited in the Hindu scriptures, in Vishnu Sutta, chapter number 5, verse number 49, saying that most of the religions prohibit the pork. So I'm telling you how to give the background. Right. If I only give the main thing, you will think of something is illogical. Right. Then I say, besides the religious scriptures prohibiting the eating of pork, there are various logical reasons why pork is prohibited. Today, science tells us that there are no less than 70 different diseases a person can acquire if he has the flesh of pig.
Right.
Pinworm, roundworm, hookworm, you name it, it's there. One of the most dangerous is tapeworm, called as Taenia solium. And the eggs, by the time it goes into the bloodstream, it can enter almost all the different organs of the body. If it goes to the brain, it can cause brain damage. If it goes to the eye, it can cause blindness. Can go to the heart, can cause heart attack. And the other one is Taenia trichurasis. And people have a misconception that if you cook your food very well, these eggs die. Out of those 22 people suffering from Taenia trichurasis, majority had cooked their food very well. That means that a normal cooking range, what you have at home, these ovas of these diseases are insufficient to kill it. Point number 2, today's science tells us eating pork has more of fat-building material rather than muscle-building material. That's the reason those who are regular pig eaters, they have got flaps, they have got tires. And today's science tells us that fats get deposited onto the vessels of the arteries into atherosclerosis, can cause angina, can cause hypertension. One of the reasons, not the only reason, one of the reasons that more than 50% of the Americans are suffering from hypertension is because most of them are pig eaters.
Right.
Furthermore, today's science tells us that one of the most filthiest animal on the face of the earth is pig. Right. Wherever you find filth and muck, you find the pig. Right. Furthermore, today also science tells us that one of the most shameless animals on the face of the earth is the pig. It is the only animal on the face of the earth which enjoys seeing its mate have sex with its friends. This is scientific. That it enjoys seeing its mate have sex with his friends. Right. Coming to your question, earlier question, what you said, that there are Hindus on non-veg.
Right, or we eat other
animals. Well. So do you behave like animals? Right. That's a very good question. That is a question asked to us Muslims. And I'll come to that reply. That you Muslims eat animal and you behave like animals. This is the argument that is put against the Muslims. Right. Many a time.
Right.
The reply I give, I agree with you for sake of argument. What you eat has an effect on your behavior. That's the reason we eat only the peaceful animals like sheep, goat, cow, because we are peace-loving people. We aren't allowed to eat the carnivorous animals like tiger, leopard, lion, who are ferocious. That's the reason, even if I agree with this research that what you eat has an effect on your behavior, we eat only peaceful animals like cow, goat, sheep, which are peace-loving because we Muslims are peace-loving. Right. Hope that answers the question.
There's a net person online, Ali Sinha. He has asked for a written debate. Why have you refused a written debate? You're very ready for live debates. Why not?
I'm not ready for live debate with any Tom, Dick and Harry. One thing is there, a written debate will never end. You start writing,
right.
There are 1,000 red herrings you can quote against the Quran.
Right.
100,000. I know.
Right.
If I start writing, it will take me 50 years. Right. You don't have to go anywhere. Even you go on the net, you yourself, having no knowledge of Islam, go on the net, go to anti-Islamic site, you'll get 1,000 points. If written debate, why should I waste my time? My time is important.
Right.
As far as having a live debate, this person, Ali Sinha, he was unknown, he became famous because of me. And he says, just challenge me. The normal ruling of mine is that because of my popularity, when I give talks,
right.
In India,
right.
In Bombay, when I give talks, there are 100,000 people coming. In other parts of India, in cities like Hyderabad, more than 50,000 people came. In cities like Bangalore, more than 50,000. people. He should be able to get an audience of 10,000 for his talk individually. Why? Not because I'm boasting of myself. Any Tom, Dick and Harry wants to debate with me to get famous.
Right.
I don't want anyone to ride on my bandwagon. So there are hundreds of people.
And also you want time. Then the 100 people will line up.
Time is one thing, secondary.
Right, okay.
First, they want to get famous. And if they know that if they have a debate with me, it will be recorded. But badnaam mein to naam nahi kya.
Right.
Even if you're infamous, you get famous.
Right.
So that's the reason I put a criteria. That anyone wants to debate me, he should have a following. And should be able to get at least minimum 10,000 for the talk individual. Not 10,000 in a conference. In a conference, people are coming for the speaker, then he gives a short speech. No. Individual for his talk. And I know hundreds of people who can get more than 10,000 people in this world. For example, Shishi Ravi Shankar, for example, Ramdev Baba, for example, Billy Graham, all these people. Maurice Rello, Benny Hinn.
Right, right.
What I'm trying to say, but I cannot get, I'm unknown, but I'm intelligent. So then I tell him, okay, give your matter to a person who's famous. If he agrees with it, he will use the matter and debate with me.
Right.
If he doesn't agree, that means he doesn't feel you're worth listening to. So you give it to someone who you can convince. Why are you wasting my time? First of all, another time. You convince someone who's famous.
Right.
Why don't you convince me? I don't want to waste my time. Convince someone who's of your religion, whether Hindu or a Christian. Right. Convince him. He will listen to you and let him use that matter. I'm willing. Alternately, you can have a debate with my student. Alternate is there.
Okay,
so why aren't they willing to have a debate with my student? Come. I'm not going to come. They come here. I will organize.
Right.
Anyone who wants to debate.
Right.
There are many of my students, many of my colleagues. But no, they want to debate with me. Why? Because if they debate with me, they'll come on the satellite. If they debate with my student, they will not be known. Right. So it is the intention. He's saying have a written debate. Right. Who has the time? Even I won't let my student also have a written debate because I know written debate will never end.
It will take a very long time.
That means this person, he doesn't have knowledge only. Right. He will go to any anti-Islamic side. Therefore, written debate is not a debate. Because in a debate, there's a fixed time. 1 hour, 2 hours, no problem.
Right.
Okay, have 1 hour, 3 debates, no problem. Written debate is endless. There is no result at all to it. I have not seen any debate with written which has results. Unless one of the person is a fool.
Right.
You understand, no? Or both are fools.
Right.
I have not seen two intelligent people having a debate on a thing, and especially on these topics.
Right. No, so which can go on forever.
Go on for 50 years. Who has the time? Right. And who's Anisina? If someone, if a high caliber person say written debate also, I can think, I can ask my student to have a written debate. A high caliber person. You know, these things started initially, if you know, there were sites, I don't know the name, by some Christians and some Jews, were very vehemently against Islam. When I went to USA, I met them personally. I said, let's have a debate. So he said, do you think I'm a fool to have a debate with you in public? Joshin Katz, one person runs a very famous anti-Islamic site. He said, do you think I'm a fool to have a debate with you? Because he knows, in a debate he'll lose. He's more interested in the internet. Right. I said, get your knowledge. And on this site, the person who was very famous Christian, who had knowledge about science and Bible and Quran, was Dr. William Campbell. He wrote a book saying there are 30 scientific errors in the Quran. And for 8 years it was popular. Now when some of the students in America requested me to have debate with him, now he is a known person, author of a book, very popular, then I accepted. He's a medical doctor, knows Arabic as a language.
Right.
Then I debated him in Chicago.
Right.
And it's there on the television.
Right. Right.
So person who has a following, person who is famous, I wouldn't mind. Like for example, we are with Shishi Ravi Shankar. We had a dialogue, no problem. We may agree, we may disagree. There were 50,000 people who came for the talk. He has a following. Someone of caliber, someone who's famous, Ali Sina, who's he? Right. Why should I make him famous? Even mentioning his name on this talk will make him famous. So I don't want to mention his name also. I don't want to mention his name also. See, he is very clever. Cheap publicity. Right. Now, because he challenged me, whatever people know him, maximum people may have heard his name only because he challenged me. And what he did, he posted that everywhere, trying to say that he's very intelligent. This is cheap publicity.
Right.
He will not even last for a few minutes in front of me. And his arguments are so flimsy, it's not worth discussing.
Right.
But yet,
read his argument.
But yet you know him why? Because he's posted everywhere. After not to Zakir Naik, after not to Zakir. And a layman, like normal person, so you know. So therefore, you do not use also his name. Say one person.
Right. One person.
Therefore, I did not mention the name of the site which I mentioned. I took the name of Joshin Cat because he's unknown. But the site he runs, I have not mentioned why. The moment I mention that site, everyone go on the site. So what is it?
Right. Right.
Therefore, mentioning this person's name also is not advisable.
Right.
Only saying that the person,
Right.
who challenged you. These are just people who try and just want free publicity.
So there's one
You mentioned
question.
to him that he wants to have a live debate, he can come and have a debate with my students.
Right.
Tell him that you are interviewing with me.
Right.
Go on the net.
Certain institutes in India, Darul Uloom Deoband and at Lucknow, right, there were a couple of fatwas that were out against you, which questioned your authority to preach Islam. So how would you react to that? What would you have to say to that? Also, I'm just elaborating the question here again. Do you find yourself in a tight spot sometimes? Because on one hand, you are looking at preaching comparative religions. You are looking at logic, common sense. You are looking at answering questions. On the other hand, might be clerics who question you and say that, but have you gone through the proper discipline which it is necessary for a person to go through to be an authoritative voice in Islam? How do you answer that question in general?
Point number one regarding some Darul Uloom giving fatwas against me. Point number one, I have nothing against any Darul Uloom.
Or Lucknow, the other, right.
And the point to be noted, what authority do I have to speak? I tell everyone I'm a student of Islam. That's it. I never claim myself to be a scholar. I never claim myself to be an alim or a mufti or a person who gives verdicts. As far as Darul Ulooms are concerned, I have nothing against any Darul Uloom. As far as the question, what is my authority in giving answers or preaching Islam, I always call myself to be a talib-e-ilm. That means the student of knowledge. I call myself to be a student of Islam and a student of Islam and comparative religion. I never claim myself to be a scholar. I have never claimed myself to be an alim or a mufti or a faqih. It is other people who hear me, they say Zakir is a scholar. I consider myself to be a student and I always will remain a student. As far as me giving replies to a question on Islam, our beloved Prophet Muhammad said, it's mentioned in Sahih Bukhari, Ballighu anni walaw aya. Propagate even if you know one verse about Islam. So whatever I know, I propagate. I never claim myself to be a scholar. But the point to be noted is when I give a reply, I always give references. From the Quran, chapter number, verse number, from the hadith of the Prophet, from the Veda, from the Bible. Now, this is a new style.
Right.
It's a new technique.
Right.
And because God has given me a good memory, when I give references, it carries more authenticity. So people agree with my answers more than the other people. I always say, in Islam, Zakir is zero. What I say, don't repeat, go and check up yourself. If I say, for example, interest is prohibited, I told you. Surah Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 270, 279. Go and check it up.
Right.
In Islam, you have to follow Allah and His Rasul, Almighty God and His Messenger. And what the Sahabas, the companions said, and the 3 generations. After that, any scholar says anything. If it matches with these sources, you accept it or just throw it out. Even Zakir, I say, is zero in Islam. I carry no weight. But the answers I give, if it's from the Quran, it's from the Prophet saying, it is from the Sahabas, it's from the first 3 generations, that carries weight. After that, anyone says anything doesn't carry any weight unless it is proven from the earlier sources.
Right.
Or there is a ijma.
Right.
Or there is a qiyas. If it is not falling in any of these categories, the answer is not carrying any weight. I have not gone to any Darul Uloom to study. I have got no formal training. I have read books myself. I never claim to be a scholar. But if people like my answers and are coming to my talks, you have to ask them why do they come. And what I'm trying to say, you tell me what is wrong in my answer, I will change it. Normally, whenever any religious person gives a talk,
Right.
whether it be in Hinduism, Christianity, or Islam, there is no question and answer session. It was Shaikh Ahmadullah who I was inspired by, and then we continued that trend, that after a talk, we have question and answer session, which is longer than the talk.
Right.
My talk may be 1 hour, 50 minutes, question and answer session is 2 to 3 hours. So, this shows that you have a right to disagree with me. You have a right to challenge me,
Right.
which is unlike as far as other religious speakers are concerned in other religions.
Especially, I think formal religious speakers.
Formal.
In that case,
Formal.
By formal, I mean people who, like you mentioned, have been formally trained and all.
Even informally trained also you don't have.
Or you don't have the question answer.
They may be, now this trend has started. In our organization, when we call them, we force them, you have to even answer questions. They may ask questions on a low level, but not in public speeches. So they give public speech and they sit down.
Right.
So it's a more one-way traffic. Right. So because we allow question answer sessions, this big audience, that means you can question me. You can disagree with me. If I give a lecture and sit down, that means I'm putting my opinion on you without allowing you to think, without allowing you to question. So because of this question answer session, more people are coming for the talk. And when I reason with them, see, giving an answer is easy. Giving a convincing answer is difficult. So because of this popularity, and I'm a person who gets different groups together. Not only do I get all the different religions together, as I said, right. Hindus, Christians, Muslims together, I even give the various different Muslim groups together. Right. And because I believe that Muslims should be united, based on the Quran and the sayings of the Prophet. Right. Now everyone having their own small groups, they get threatened. That Zakir is getting everyone together. My aim is to get the Muslims together, get the humanity together. I never belong to any group, I call myself a Muslim. And that's the reason. I never criticize any group. Though they criticize, there are people criticizing me, I have the policy that when people throw stones at you, raise yourself so high so that the stone doesn't reach you. Right. With this philosophy, we keep on working. Never in my talk will you ever find me criticizing any other group of Muslims. Right. My views may differ, that's a personal view. But never in public do I say that. Same thing, even in public, I never criticize any religion, I get them to come in terms. I can give a bigger talk on the differences right. between various religions. Right. Unless it's a debate like William Campbell, a few times I've done. Right. Otherwise, generally, I never. In question and someone forcing me to say something different. In talks, I always get the different human beings of different religions together. That's the reason in my talk, more than 25% of the audience are non-Muslim.
There was another statement again which has been taken up because of this controversy, which is about women invite molestation by wearing revealing clothes.
No, it was Western women. The quotation allegation against me in the Sunday Times was Western women because they were revealing clothes, they invite molestation.
Would you like to clarify that?
Yes. Never ever have I said Western women invite people, the molesters and rapists because of it. What I give, normally I give an analogy. That if there are two twin sisters who are very beautiful, if they're walking down the streets of the city where I go, if I'm in Bombay, I say walking down in Bombay. If I'm in Dubai, I say in Dubai. If I say in London, I say in London. If two twin sisters who are equally beautiful, very beautiful, walking down the streets of Dubai, walking down the streets of London, and if one twin sister is wearing a hijab, complete body covered, except the face and hands up to the wrist, the other twin sister, she is wearing Western clothes, mini skirts or short, or a low neck or a deep neck. And if both of them are walking down the streets of Dubai, and round the corner there is a hooligan waiting for a catch, going to tease a girl, which girl will it tease? And the answer is, but naturally the girl wearing the Western clothes. That doesn't mean I'm degrading the Westerners. I'm saying clothes which are revealing. And what I'm trying to say, if you have revealing clothes, it invites people to tease you, to molest you, to rape you. And this was by the same Sunday Times. They said because of this attitude, because of this thinking, Zakir is a misogynist, is a person who hates women. And what we did, we went to the same website or the same paper, and we found just a little bit more than a year back, on the 9th of March 2009, there was an article that 1 in 7 believes that it should hit a woman for wearing revealing clothes. And there's an article that came in the same paper.
Sunday Times itself.
Times. If it comes on Sunday, it becomes Sunday Times. It is Times Online. This. What does it say? Again, Times Online. It's a website on the same, just 1 year back on 9th March 2009. Women should be hit for wearing sexy clothes in public, 1 in 7 believes. Hit. Literally hit. Anyway, that's all. And furthermore, here it says, again on 21st of November 2005, women still held to blame for rape. Many people believe that flirting or wearing revealing clothes believe that the woman was partially or totally responsible for being raped if she was wearing sexy or revealing clothes. Now, I did not use the word sexy because I finished too obscene, to use in my lecture. I said revealing clothes. So because of this views, they call me a misogynist. I'm asking the same newspaper. 1 year back, they carry a report that women should be hit, 1 in 7 believe. Hit. For whatever reason. Women should be hit for wearing sex. Hit. 1 in 7 believes.
Right.
That's equal to about 14%.
Right.
Somewhere close to 14%. Should be hit
Right.
for wearing revealing clothes.
Right.
Here it says 26% of adults, in which many are women. The survey also found that 26% of the adults believed that a woman was partially or totally responsible for being raped if she was wearing sexy or revealing clothes. That means this Times and Sunday Times itself, they are misogynist. So all these 26% of Britishers,
Right.
1/4 of Britishers believe that. That means these 1/4 Britishers are also misogynist. What I'm asking, why these double standards? The same paper
Right.
when it carries. I'm repeating this. I am a man of knowledge. I'm a man who keeps on traveling. I'm a man who does research. So when I'm giving the same research which the Western countries are giving me, when they say it is acceptable, when I say it's not acceptable.
Right.
So why these double standards?
Right. I'm just asking you to clarify your viewpoint on that.
Correct.
So what is, for example, when we are talking about that, we are talking about the two examples, the examples of the twin sisters.
Correct.
Right. Now, from there on, right,
onward,
what would you say?
I would
be
say
your view?
I would be amongst one of these 26% of Britishers who
Right.
have this view.
Right.
That means if you wear revealing clothes like mini skirts or shorts, etc.,
Right.
you are inviting trouble.
Right.
But they are not only to blame. The more person to blame is the person who molests and rapes. That doesn't mean that these women are solely responsible. They are partially or fully. But the bigger blame would go on the person who molests, person who rapes. Because in the Quran, before
And
talking
let
about
us just expand on that. And because this has also been there in your this thing, what punishment would you recommend for the...
there's no punishment mentioned for a person who molests. Punishment is depending upon crime, it may differ. But for rape, it is there. The punishment for rape in Islam, again, is not mentioned in the Quran.
Right.
It's in the saying of the Prophet that the person should be put to death.
Right.
Now, I go ahead and say that one of the countries which has the maximum number of rapes
Right.
is USA.
Right.
According to statistics of FBI,
Right.
as I mentioned, in 1990 alone, on an average, every day, 1,756 cases of rape took place.
Right.
According to statistics of the US Department of Justice, 1996, every day on average, 2,713 cases of rape took place. That means every 32 seconds, one rape is taking place. And as I was mentioning, first the Quran speaks about the hijab for the man, then for the woman. It says in Surah Nur, chapter 24, verse number 30, say to the believing man that he should lower his gaze and guard his modesty.
Right.
That means whenever a man looks at a woman, any unashamed thought, any brazen thought comes in, man should lower his gaze.
Right.
And after that, the hijab is mentioned for the woman, that she should wear it properly. So in America, if every man, when he looks at a woman, any brazen, any unashamed thought comes, they should lower his gaze. After that, if all the women in America, if they wear a complete hijab, complete body covered, the only part that is seen is the face and the hands of protection. And after that, if any man rapes a woman, capital punishment, death penalty. I am asking the question, will the rate of rape in USA, will it increase? Will it remain the same or will it decrease? It will decrease as practical law. And I've asked this question to thousands of non-Muslim people who have in my talk, that God forbid, and I'm asking you also, God forbid, someone rapes your mother, God forbid. And if the rapist is born in front of you,
Right.
and if I ask you, what punishment will you give that rapist? What punishment will you give him?
It will be the death penalty.
Death penalty.
Right.
But naturally, so why these double standards? Someone rapes your mother, you want to say death penalty. Someone rapes somebody else's mother, you say death penalty. It's a barbaric law. So Islam is the most practical religion. That's the reason the least rate of rape in any country in the world is Saudi Arabia. So what I'm trying to say, that this is the law of Almighty God.